Welcome to the Literary Apothecary. My name is Kate and I'm here today to talk about The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. This is book 1 in the Lotlands series. It's a dark fantasy. I read this because it was recommended by my good friend Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative, like a lot of the books that I read here on this channel. My general thoughts for this book is that it had great world building. It had extensive world building. We saw all different parts of the world in this book, and I loved it. It started with a bit of a slower pace. It did pick up eventually, but it was still kind of a slower prose than I expected in fantasy. But it was so much fun. I didn't know I would be able to have that much fun with a book about orcs and half-orcs. So our spoiler-free summary for what this book is about: a raucous, bawdry, blood-soaked adventure fantasy debut that's The Lord of the Rings reimagined by way of Sons of Anarchy. So if you like those two things, you probably like this one. Jackal is proud to be a Grey Bastard, member of a sworn brotherhood of half-orcs. Unloved and unwanted in civilized society, the bastards eke out a hard life in the desolate no-man's land called the Lot, protecting frail and noble human civilization from invading bands of vicious, full-blooded orcs. But, as Jackal is soon to learn, his pride may be misplaced, because a dark secret lies at the heart of the bastard's existence. One that reveals a horrifying truth behind humanity's tenuous peace with the orcs, and exposes a grave danger on the horizon. On the heels of the ultimate betrayal, Jackal must scramble to stop a devastating invasion, even as he wonders where his true loyalties lie. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned for more thoughts on The Grey Bastards. Let's jump right into my reviews. Our characters, I absolutely loved our characters in this book. I thought it was so unique, not only taking part of the orc world, fantasy world, but using half-orcs. These characters are half-orc, half-human, and I thought that was so unique, and I had so much fun following along these guys. Our atmosphere and our setting, like I said, great world building, fantastic world building. That's maybe my favorite part of this whole book, was the world building. We got to see so much of this world, and I loved it. A writing style, there was a little bit of a slow start. I was waiting for it to pick up, waiting for the story to really take hold. It finally did. Can't really tell you when it did, but it does pick up in pace. So if you're reading this and you're like, man, this is really slow, it does pick up a bit, but the prose is still a little bit slow throughout. Our plot, I loved where our plot went in this book. The place where we ended up at the end of this book has me really yearning for book 2. I need to jump into that book 2 very soon. It just went in totally different directions than I ever thought it would, and it was great at keeping my interest throughout all these twists and turns. Speaking of keeping my interest, Intrigue, yes, I was intrigued this entire time. I was interested. I had to know what was happening, what was going to happen, and had to follow through with our boys and see where they ended up in the end. Logic, strangely enough, in a book about half-orcs and orcs with some elves thrown in, it made completely logical sense to me. I had no problem with logic, which I thought would be one of the nicks I had to do when I first started this book. But no, everything just made logical sense to me in almost a heartbreaking way at times. And enjoyment, I truly, truly loved this book. I can't wait to read book 2. I am so glad. I always follow Leslie's recommendations, and 9 out of 10 times, more like 9.5 out of 10 times, it is the best decision, because we have very similar reading tastes. So I know when she loves a book, I will most likely love that book also. Now I'm going to throw in spice reading here, because at least for me personally, there was more spice than I ever expected in this book about orcs and half-orcs. There's some spice. It gets a little raunchy, but it doesn't overpower the story or the pages when it's on. So yeah, that is my spoiler-free review for The Great Bastards by Jonathan French. If you have read this book before, let me know in the comments below. What did you think of it? Who was your favorite? What was your favorite moment? Tell me all the deets in the comments below. As always, keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.